Life will throw a lot of things at you. As long as you remain in this realm, challenges and problems will come knocking at your door. But one of the things that you can do to take care of it, be successful at defeating it, is using a setting tool. I know that you've heard a lot about it, but I'm going to tell you something about it, okay, in this video. So don't go away. I'm Dale Quest, your mind surgeon. I'll be right back quickly to perform mind surgery. Welcome back. We're talking about a tool that you can use to help your life become successful. As far as you're a human being, okay, and you remain in this world, you would always be solving problems. Or you can decide not to solve it and have a miserable life. But as we live our day-to-day lives, okay, we are always confronted with things that seems to be events that are orchestrated to make us fail. It's not like that, because the beauty of life is in the number of problems that you solve, and the more you solve problems of life, the more successful you are, and the more you set yourself apart from the masses. Okay, so you look around you, the people who are very successful, they are wealthy because they have identified a problem and they are providing solutions to it. And it's because they are using a setting tool, they are using their mind, because your mind is very powerful. Let me tell you something about the mind and how powerful it is, okay? As far as I'm concerned, the mind is the only thing that can convince your physical brain to take a gun and shoot itself. Now let me allow that to sink in, okay? I'm going to say it again. Your mind is the only thing I personally know that can convince your brain to pick a gun to shoot itself. Or your mind is so powerful that it can convince your brain to get a rope, tie it around your neck, and hang yourself to end your physical life. The mind has the power to do that. And so don't underestimate the power of your mind, because it can do a lot. One interesting thing about the mind is you cannot kill it with a gun. In fact, it's one of the things that can live beyond your physical brain. At least you can die. And when you're buried, your brain matter would start decaying, okay? And you lose all physical consciousness and all interpretations the brain does that gives you a certain awareness of where you are physically as far as your body is concerned. But your mind will live on, because the mind would always produce something that lives beyond itself. It's called ideas. Yes, the mind thrives mainly on information and data. And like I always say in my videos, the mind is an interface between your soul and your physical body. So I'll explain something quite shortly for you to understand what I'm trying to say, okay? So your soul has compartments, basically your emotions and your will, right? And then you have your physical body that allows you to carry out function on this physical realm. Now, for the soul to dictate to the body, it requires an interface, a middleman, and that is where your mind comes to play, okay? But the truth is that your soul cannot do much unless it has been fed by information, or it's been fed with data from your physical environment. And the only thing that makes it possible from your body is your mind. I want you to get this very correctly, so it helps you understand the discussion that we're having, okay? So once you're receiving data from your physical environment, once you're receiving stimulus from your physical environment through your five senses. Your mind is indexing it, is filtering it, is categorizing it, is placing them into folders. And it has the ability to store such data and always will try to feed your soul with it, so that your soul can emotionally be influenced, and then it takes a decision through the power of your will that resides in your soul. Now, when you're confronted with a problem, daily challenges of your life, possibly losing a loved one, being sacked from your job, or losing huge sums of investment, whatever the problem is, whatever the life challenges, it could be the challenge of emotions, it could be the challenge of depression, it could be the challenge of an addiction. Whatever the challenge comes and presents itself as, you can only defeat it, or you can only be successful at providing a solution to it based on the kind and type of information you have in your mind. So let me say this. So you have a challenge you want to defeat, you have something you want to do to make your life comfortable, more successful, maybe you want more money. It requires that you feed your mind through the canal of your ears, through the sense of sight, sense of hearing, and sense of touch. I mean, where you find yourself receiving information from the physical environment and feeding your mind with it, so that it can influence your soul to make certain decisions. So when you identify your problem, then you can be able to tell which kind of information you need and require to feed your mind with, so that it can start making certain decisions, it can start reasoning, so that it can perform function, feed your soul with it, so that it can emotionally influence you to make a will that would influence your body in a reverse form to take certain decisions on the physical scene as far as your body is concerned. So, if you're the type who likes to procrastinate, then you have to feed your mind with things that challenges you to take decisions and act on them instantly. Once you create a routine on acting on what you've decided to do, then you begin to move into the realm of having the power to deal with procrastination. In other words, you deal with laziness. You don't become slothful. But that's one aspect of it. Because when it comes to the mind, the more you tell it not to, the more it does it. Because it would always challenge itself why you are asking it not to. And the mind is not there just like that, and is not always blank. It's always doing something. It's always thinking. It's always inquisitive. It's always eavesdropping. It's always active even when you're sleeping. And that's how powerful the mind is. It's an interface that is very super complex, that is influencing a lot of things in your life. And that's why when we see somebody who is not aligned, somebody whose body and soul and mind is not aligned, the phrase we usually use is that he is out of his mind, not out of his body, not out of his soul. He's out of his mind. In other words, the mind decides, is the X factor here. It decides whether you're sane on this physical realm. So we see somebody who goes around dirty, picking up rubbish, writing on the wall, and begin to behave abnormally. Then we say that this person is out of his mind. Sometimes we use that phrase for people who even act in an angry manner. I mean, expressing some form of anger and rage. We say, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Because your mind at that moment is controlling you based on the information it is acquired. And so when life throws things towards you, this is what you do. You have to spend time sitting down and doing an introspection and studying the situation. And when you study the situation, then it would help you know what kind of information you need, the people to talk to, and what you have to invest your time into, and the company you keep and the places you find yourself. Once you're able to do this consistently, your mind begins to reshape itself, recalibrate itself to think and see differently about the situation you find yourself in. And that's how solutions begins to be birthed or born. Because look around you, everything is a product of the mind. I mean, from the television to the mobile device to buildings to everything you see around you, to the camera I'm using right now, to the mobile device you're watching me through, to the development of softwares, the AIs and all of that. It's a product of the mind because somebody sat down and put pressure on the mind and thought deeply using the mind, the power of the mind. And because you are the soul requires that it actually uses the mind through the process of reasoning and thinking to bring out these beauty we call inventions. And that's why people who invent stuff, people who create stuff, are the ones who are wealthy in society. People who provide solutions to problems would always be ahead from the masses. And that's the image in which we are created. The good book, the Bible, says that we are created in the image and likeness of God. And so when you look around us, God is a creator of the universe. And when I say God, I don't mean one singular person. I mean the very thing that the Bible says, that let us create man. Okay? So I don't believe that it's a person, it's just one person. If it says let us, then it's a group of people. But in this case, it's a group of entities. Okay? So they created us in their image and likeness. And when we look around us, everything has some level of beauty in its creation. And so if we are in the image and likeness of these people or entities that created us, then we must also be creating. And one of the physical principles or natural principles that makes us creators is our ability to produce after our own kind through birth and reproduction. Okay? So this is what I want to leave with you when it comes to the power of the mind. And I want you to think deeply about it. I know you know the mind is very powerful, but I want you to spend time and think about how you can harness the power of your mind to make your life comfortable, to help you make your life meaningful, so that you can stand out from the masses. I'm the Question Mind Surgeon. Let your mind do the conversations. I'll be right back again on this channel. Kindly subscribe and share with your family and friends. Take care. I'm out.